Good evening and welcome to the Daily News Roundup. I am Abigail Smythe. Among the stories in this evening's newscast, 35 people murdered in Jamaica last week. William Knibb High School student pleads guilty to manslaughter for fatal stabbing of schoolmate. Autopsy confirms cause of death of social media influencer Slickiana. 5 inmates at local correctional facility diagnosed with tuberculosis. JPS seeks to clarify its statements regarding increases in electricity bills. In business, the Financial Policy Committee projects 3.5% growth for Jamaican economy. In the region, Dominicans to go to the polls on December 6 after Prime Minister calls a snap general election. Further overseas, U.S. voters cast early ballots in midterm elections. And in sports, West Indies women to host England women in 8-match white ball series. Now for the news in detail. 35 people were killed in Jamaica last week. This makes it one of the bloodiest 7-day periods since the start of the year. As at November 5, 2022, the national murder tally stood at 1,329. This represents an 8% increase, or 98 more than the 1,231 recorded for the same period last year. Of the 19 police divisions, the top 5 most murderous divisions are St. James with 181 murders, Westmoreland with 126, St. Catherine North 124, St. Andrew South 121, and St. Catherine South 105. Portland has the lowest murders with 10. Shootings, injured persons, and rape cases have declined this year, while robberies and break-ins have increased by 20% and 9% respectively. The Portmore police are probing an incident in which a man's body was thrown from a Toyota Probox motorcar along George Lee Boulevard in Edgewater, St. Catherine Monday night. Eyewitnesses say the incident occurred at 9:45. It is reported that the body of the unidentified male had blood coming from the head and was clad in a white shirt, khaki shorts, and black slippers. The body was transported to the Spanish Town Hospital where death was confirmed. A 38-year-old Kingston 20 businessman was shot and killed in Lucy, Hanover Monday morning. He has been identified as Anthony Parkinson. Reports from the police are that shortly after 10 o'clock, Parkinson was walking on the Lucy Main Road towards Sewell when he was reportedly ambushed by a man armed with a gun. After being shot in his upper body, Parkinson ran onto the compound of a nearby service station where he collapsed. He was rushed to the Noel Holmes Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The shooter reportedly escaped on a motorcycle. The police say investigations are at an early stage and they are hoping that a breakthrough will be made soon. A 20-year-old gunslinger says he will readily spend 15 years to life behind bars than hand over his .45 caliber handgun during the ongoing 2-week gun amnesty. The youngster, who we will call Joe to protect his identity, resides in a volatile corporate area community and says he purchased the firearm at an illegal gun shop in 2018 for $140,000. He says he used his savings to purchase the weapon after gang war claimed the lives of a relative and friend. Joe says, quote, "Right now I choose the gun over food because I can eat the food and I'm on take me 2 points. Enough time all 3 nights me a bleach straight without food and no miss it because my life more valuable. Me at 20 now, and if me should go prison, me a go come out by me at 35, so me still can make life. 3 meals a day me a go get and no work. The only thing is me now go can move freely as me would hope to, but at least me have life." End quote. Joe, a father of 1, says he has never taken a life but was forced to return fire at rival gangs earlier this year after they invaded his community. He laments that he bought the gun for his safety and says he is naked without it. He argues that even if individuals are to turn in their guns under the amnesty, they are not offered any form of protection. Joe says he does not trust the system. The gun amnesty took effect on November 5 and will end on November 19. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says the police have not received any firearms since the amnesty was launched. Persons may hand over firearms to a sub-officer or senior sub-officer on duty at any police station, any designated officer at a firearms licensing authority location, or to an attorney at law on behalf of an individual seeking the amnesty for delivery to the nearest police station. The minister says once the amnesty expires, the full force of the law is expected to be applied to anyone found in possession of an illegal firearm or ammunition, which could be 15 years to life in prison. Joe also gave a suggestion to the crime-fighting plans. He says the government should have a contract with entertainers and have them agree to do songs lashing out against crime and violence. He believes this will work as he himself is in music and knows how powerful it is. He says music can and will put people in a trance, so youths hearing positive songs from their favorite artists will do some good. An autopsy has revealed that popular social media influencer Anika Slickiana Townsend died of strangulation. A senior investigator says the autopsy was conducted on Saturday. He says investigators are now making arrangements to question Roshane Patterson, the man listed as a person of interest in her killing. Ms. Townsend's body was found floating in the sea in Reading, St. James by a group of beachgoers on October 21. The body had a cord around the neck. Patterson was captured during a police operation in Hanover last week and has since been charged with abduction and assault with intent to rob in relation to a 2018 incident in Duhaney Park, St. Andrew. The William Knibb High School student charged with the fatal stabbing of his schoolmate Kamal Hall has pleaded guilty to manslaughter. He gave the guilty plea when he appeared before High Court Judge Andrea Thomas in the Trelawney Circuit Court on Monday. Hall was fatally stabbed on Monday, March 21, during an altercation with the accused over a guard ring. Hall, who was of a D-side Trelawney address, was the goalkeeper of the school's football team that competed in last season's Da Costa Cup competition. The accused, who is represented by attorney at law Marissa Dalrymple Filbert, was charged after being questioned by detectives. His bail was revoked until Thursday, December 1, when he is scheduled to reappear in court for sentencing. A district constable and 3 alleged hitmen implicated in a murder for hire plot are scheduled to appear in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday. It is reported that a green card holder who lives in the United States had paid the men $400,000 to execute 3 women in St. James. 3 of the accused were arrested and charged last December when the police, acting on information, intercepted a motor car in Kingston and thwarted the planned execution. When the matter was mentioned on Monday, only Adrian Graham and Shavoy Bailey were brought before the court. Senior Parish Judge Lorian Cole Montague was informed that the police were unable to ascertain why the other 2 accused, District Constable Andre Wright and Cavane Green, were not taken to court. The clerk of the court further told the judge that since the matter was first mentioned, 1 or 2 of the accused had never been taken before the court. While noting that it was concerning, the judge queried where they were being kept and learned that it was at the Central Police Station. She noted that the police should ensure that there is some proper form of management taking place, as the prisoners ought to be taken to court on their court dates. The matter was subsequently rescheduled for Thursday for all of the accused to be present, while Graham and Bailey were further remanded. On December 3, 2021, the police, acting on intelligence, went to a premises in Constant Spring, St. Andrew with a search warrant where they found an assortment of guns and ammunition, including an American tactical hybrid rifle, along with 30 5.56 caliber rounds and several police items such as ballistic vests, police uniform shirts and pants, and handcuffs. On the same day, the police went to a fast food restaurant along Washington Boulevard in St. Andrew, where they intercepted a Toyota Yaris motorcar with the District Constable Bailey and Graham. The lawman was reportedly found in possession of a loaded Glock 26 pistol and 11 cartridges. It is alleged that Wright had told the police that it was a licensed firearm, but checks revealed that was not true. The police team also went to a premises in Duhaney Park, also in St. Andrew, where they reportedly found items belonging to the Jamaica Defense Force. Green was reportedly arrested at that location. All 4 accused were taken into custody and later charged with conspiracy to murder. The police had seized Wright's phone, and an analysis reportedly revealed conversations between him and the contractor. At the time of the men's arrest, Bailey, who had reportedly given the police a false name, was allegedly on the run in relation to a 2017 murder. There were 12 fatal crashes over a 7-day period, which have put the country on notice as it regards to road safety. These fatalities include the Melrose bypass crash in Manchester on Friday that left 3 dead and 13 injured, and a crash on Saturday in Hanover that left 1 woman dead and several others injured. Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, says the month of November is a disaster for road safety in the island. He says the numbers are close to that of Jamaica's worst year on record. Dr. Jones says speeding is to be blamed for a high number of the incidents in the country. He adds that the National Road Safety Council believes a harsher ticketing system could help to reduce the incidence of speeding. And 5 inmates at a local correctional facility have been diagnosed with tuberculosis (TB). In a release on Tuesday, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, in collaboration with the Correctional Services, says it is now conducting tuberculosis screening for inmates at the local facility. The release said the inmates have been hospitalized and are responding well to treatment. The Department of Correctional Services says the contacts of the hospitalized inmates have been identified and are being screened. So far, no staff member has tested positive for TB. Also, close to 100 inmates have so far been tested. TB is caused by a bacterium called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It usually attacks the lungs, though it can attack any part of the body, including the kidneys, spine, and brain. If not treated properly, TB can be fatal. Light and power service provider Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, has sought to clarify its statements, suggesting that increases in electricity bills are as a result of increases in the cost of fuel from Petrojam. The clarification follows pushback from the oil refinery last week. Director of Corporate Communications at JPS, Winsome Callum, says the fuel charge on bills changes monthly. She says it comprises the charge for both oil and natural gas. Eastern Region Area Customer Service Manager at JPS, Ruth Lynn Johnson, had alerted customers to expect increases in their electricity bills as a result of price increases in fuel. She attributed these increases to costs incurred from Petrojam. However, Callum says Johnson's statements were incomplete, as she didn't mention that the JPS pays New Forest Energy for the natural gas it supplies. In the meantime, the general manager of Petrojam, Winston Watson, had noted that Petrojam is no longer the primary supplier of fuel to JPS. He added that Petrojam's pricing mechanism is also very competitive. Also, the JPS says adapting more liquefied natural gas (LNG) has saved consumers some $200 million in charges over the past 5 years. The Director of Corporate Communications says LNG continues to be cheaper than oil. She says using LNG also allows the JPS to benefit from new technology which promotes the use of renewable energy. And in business news, Jamaica's net international reserves, NIR, declined in the month of October. At the end of last month, there was $3.77 billion in the reserves, which is a $32 million decline compared to September. At the end of September, the NIR stood at $3.81 billion. The reserves at the end of October can cover up to 24 weeks of goods and services. According to the International Monetary Fund (IMF's definition, international reserves consist of the sum of the country's foreign exchange, its reserve position in the IMF, its monetary gold reserves, and the United States dollar value of special drawing rights holdings by its monetary authorities. And the Bank of Jamaica's Financial Policy Committee is projecting a growth of up to 3.5% for the Jamaican economy. The committee, which met recently to review the local financial system's performance and risks up to the end of August 2022, says despite inflation, growth has been strong. The Financial Policy Committee says growth could fall between 2.5 to 3.5% for the July to September quarter. This is higher than the Planning Institute of Jamaica's projection for growth for the period. The PIOJ anticipates real value added to be between 2 to 3% for July to September. The expansion is expected to be driven mainly by the performance of the tourism sector, supported by strong remittance inflows. And in the region, Dominicans will go to the polls on December 6 after the Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, called the snap a general election. He says he wants the year 2023 to begin with a fresh mandate given to a fresh Labour team to commence the work of building post-COVID Dominica. Skerrit, who advocated for a national reset, states that he has no intention of remaining in power beyond April 2025. He adds that he intends to stay for another 2.5 years, but a number of his co-workers concur that the time for renewal is now. Meanwhile, the opposition's interim leader, Francisco Joseph, has yet to convene a delegates' conference. Last month, the leader of the opposition, Lennox Linton, resigned from the United Workers' Party. Nomination day would be on November 18. In the 2019 general elections, the ruling Dominica Labour Party won a landslide 18-3 victory against the United Workers' Party. And on the international scene, U.S. voters are casting early ballots in the midterm elections that will determine control of the House and Senate. Democrats are trying to cling to their majorities in Congress for the final 2 years of President Joe Biden's first term. Republicans are favored to win control of the House, while the race for Senate control appears tight. Voters have already cast more than 42 million ballots as of Monday evening. In the meantime, former President Donald Trump says he will make a big announcement on November 15 at his Mar-a-Lago resort, where he is widely expected to launch his 2024 presidential campaign. And onto sports. West Indies women will host England women in an 8-match white ball series starting next month. They are ramping up preparations for next year's 2020 or T20 World Cup in South Africa. The tour will run from December 4 to 22 and will see a 3-match one-day international ODI series, along with the first T20 international being played at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua and the remaining 4 being played at Kensington Oval in Barbados. West Indies women suffered clean sweeps in their last bilateral outings against England women, going down 5-0 in their last T20 series 3 years ago and 3-0 in an ODI series 4 years ago. The Caribbean side have been drawn in Group 2 for the February 10 to 26 World Cup alongside England, India, Pakistan and Ireland. Group 1 comprises Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. West Indies are currently in a period of turbulent form in which they have won only 2 of their last 10 ODI series and 3 of their last 10 T20 international series. And West Indies cricket legend Shivnarine Chanderpaul was announced as one of the new members of the International Cricket Council's ICC Hall of Fame in Australia. He joins a list of cricket icons who have received the prestigious honor. The ICC announced that Chanderpaul will be included in the Hall of Fame alongside Pakistan legendary leg spinner Abdul Qadir and England trailblazer Charlotte Edwards. The left-handed Chanderpaul played at the international level for over 2 decades and is among the leading run scorers in the game's history. West Indians previously inducted into the ICC Hall of Fame include Sir Courtney Ambrose, Brian Lara, and Courtney Walsh. And that's it for your news roundup for today. I am Abigail Smythe. See you next time.